Orbis Unum presents a brief tutorial on how to use VRChat in desktop or laptop mode. I'm your host, Dr. Kim. I assume you've already got the virtual reality system loaded on your computer. I'm going to walk you through some of the basic movement and some of the basic menus. So the most important keys are moving around. So we're going to start with the W key, which will move you forward, and the S key, which will move you backwards. If you want to move to the left or the right, you'd use the A key to move to the left, and you would use the D key to move to the right. You use your mouse by sliding it left and right to look left and right and to point your avatar in that direction. Again, remember, you don't see your avatar in VRChat because just like in real life, you don't see yourself. You just look out of your eyes. So let's use these keys now to navigate into the classroom. So I'm going to push the W key. Oh, here it looks like the open classroom is on the left. I'll stop. I'm going to turn left with the mouse. And again, I'll walk forward with the W key. And again, I can make fine movements with the mouse while I walk forward into this lovely lecture hall. So that's the basics of movement. So let's look at some of the other things we can do. If you need to jump, for example, if you're going to jump onto a large platform or something, you push the space bar and it will make you jump. As you can see, it does that. So if you reach an edge or something that you can't surmount, so let's go up here to the stage and we will jump onto the stage. Now let's turn around and see what the class looks like. Okay, so that's the space bar. If you want to crawl or lay down on the floor, you're going to push the Z key, and you can crawl forward and backwards and left and right, but you won't be moving very fast. And again, to get out of that position, you hit the Z key again, and you're standing up. One more one to know is the letter C as in Charles, and that key will make you crouch, easy to remember. C for crouch. So it's sort of like a almost sitting position, but you don't need a chair to do it. And you push C, the letter C again, and you will come back out of the crouch and be standing. Now, remember, if you're crouching, you won't be able to walk as fast. So if everyone is walking ahead of you and getting ahead of you, you may want to check that and see that you're not crouched. Because as you can see, when I walk crouched, I go slow, and when I'm uncrouched, I walk much quicker. And if you want to walk even more quickly, you can hold down your Shift key while pushing W, and you'll be running. So you can go very fast. So to interact with objects, you'll see that certain objects will light up, and if you left mouse click on them, they will perform some kind of function. In this case, we can light the candle or turn the candle off. So if I left click, I can hold the ball, and if I let go of the left mouse, it drops the ball. So another way we can interact with objects is if I left click on this, I will hold the drink, and then to drop it, I simply right click, and it will set that down. Another thing you can do in VRChat is sit down. I know it doesn't seem like much, but you come over to an appropriate spot, you will get a box and an indication that you can sit. If you click on it, you'll be sitting down and you can look around the room from your vantage point, but you won't be able to move around until you push the W key to stand back up again. And I'm standing again. Another feature of VRChat that you'll see pretty much everywhere, and for some reason people love this, is a mirror. And here the mirror toggle is hidden here on this little piece of paper. So I'm going to click on this. And as you can see, there I am looking in the mirror. So you can see me, and now I'm looking around the room, and this is the mirror. And again, to turn the mirror off again, you would click on this, and the mirror goes away and you see the original scene behind it. You'll often find in Worlds a menu that lets you control all sorts of things like the background music, whether it's day or night, whether there's thunder and lightning, whether there's floating dust particles around, things like that. And so that gives you very fine control. There are two things to consider when looking at those controls is, are they global or local? A global control means that when you change something, everyone in the room in that world will see it. So if it's a global day-night switch, if you switch to nighttime, it'll be night for everyone. A local control would be, it affects only your perception of the world. So a local day-night control, you click it, it would change your view of the world to night, but everyone else would be day or night, whatever their view originally was. It wouldn't affect them at all. So things like music can be controlled locally and things like that. And most controls are labeled as such. So let's take a look at some of the basic menu settings, because that's very important if you're going to do anything. We're going to click on the escape key on our keyboard. And as you can see, this brings up our menu. And we have several different features in the menu. We have a worlds menu, an avatar menu, a social menu, a safety menu, and then some other commands. Go home, which takes you back to your home world if you're confused. A respawn, which keeps you in the world you're in, but moves you back to the starting position. So if you're in a very large world and you get disoriented or you want to rejoin your friends at the beginning, you can click on that and it'll simply move you back to the point you entered the world at, which is preset. And this is the very important one, the settings menu, which we're going to get into. Let's start with the worlds menu. I click on that and it opens up a whole series of things. The way you navigate the worlds menu from keyboard is up arrow and down arrow. And if you're on a particular stripe here, because each strip of worlds has a different representation, for example, you're going to see things that are, here's a bunch of random worlds, here's a bunch of worlds which contain avatars, here's a world of games, here's a bunch of worlds that are new to the VRChat universe. Here's the ones you visited recently. So if you go somewhere and then you leave, you can go back to it by simply finding it here. To navigate in this strip, you're going to push the left and right arrow buttons on your keyboard, and that will move the strip left and right. And if you select a world, a very popular one is the Great Pug, is you click on it, and then it's going to give you several options. This option here shows you where it says there's a player symbol and then 1625. 25 is the total number of people that can occupy an instance of that world at any time. And this is showing me that there are already 16 people there. And you could look down below and you could see different versions of this which have a different number of people in them. So if you want to go to a place that maybe has only a few people in it, you can find that. And if you want to go to a version of it that has a lot of people, you can find a number up near the limit and join that. If I wanted to go to this world with 16 people in it, I would simply click on the Go key. If I wanted to create a new instance, in other words, if I wanted to create a separate version of this world for myself and control it, I could click on New Instance. And that brings up a submenu that would let me set any of these functions. And the functions are, if I make it a public world, anyone in VRChat can join it. If I make it a friends world, then only people I've designated as my friends can join me there. And if I make it an invite-only world, and you'll see I'm skipping some, but we'll come back to those. If I make it an invite-only world, then only people I specifically go out and invite can join me in that world, even if they're friends. There's two more that we didn't cover, which is Friends Plus and Invite Plus. And what Friends Plus means is, if I make the world Friends Plus, any of my friends can join me, but once they are there in the world, they are free to invite any of their friends. So those might be people I don't know, and that's okay. If I make it Invite Plus, then it's similar to Invite. I can invite whoever I want, and once they're there, they are free to invite whoever they want. Again, whether or not they're on my friends list and whether or not I invite them. So for the moment, we're going to keep this private just because it's a demo. So we're going to make this invite only. And then we're going to say go because we've set this up. And now the screen will go down. You'll get this loading screen. And we'll jump ahead here. And now the world has loaded. And as you can see, it's a very traditional bar type pub environment. I'm using my W key to navigate forward. There's an upstairs area. There's this regular bar area. And again, we can sit down at a bar stool. We point at that. It says sit. We click on it, and we're sitting at the table. Let's cover another menu setting, which is settings. And you'll get this screen. A few things that we're going to cover here are very simple. Up here at the top center under voice options, you want to make sure that toggle voice is checked, mic defaults on is checked, and disable mic button is unchecked. Down below here, you want to make sure that under other options, you want to make sure the skip go load button in load is checked. And that'll simply save you a bunch of saying, yes, go ahead and go to the place I already asked to go, which can be frustrating. You want to make sure that the desktop reticule is checked, which gives you this nice bright symbol here. Down in the lower left under the mouse settings, if you're using your mouse and it's not turning you fast enough, far enough, you can increase the sensitivity, sliding it to the right. And if it's too sensitive and you're whipping your head around and it's too quick for you, then you can simply slide that sensitivity down to the left. Over here in the bottom right, you have the microphone setting and level. And what you're going to want to do is click through these arrows here until you find the microphone for your laptop or the microphone that you've plugged in to use on your desktop. Once that's set correctly, if people tell you're sounding too loud, you can turn the level down here under level, or you can turn the level, if they tell you you're being too quiet, you can turn the level up to the right here. Under audio volume, that microphone affects the way other people hear you, your volume level. Up here under audio volume affects the way you hear everything else. So we'll touch on just three of the main ones of these. You want your master setting to be up around 100. It doesn't have to be exactly that, but that will mute everything if it's turned off. And then under world, for example, you can hear this beautiful sound of animals and water flowing. If that's too loud, you can turn that down here. And if it's too quiet, you can turn it back up. And voices affects how loud or how quietly you hear other people's voices. And so if people are talking and they all sound too loud, you can decrease that. And if you can barely hear anyone, you can turn that back up again. Again, that will control the voice of everyone else in the world, not you. So that covers most of those settings. One more important thing I wanted to cover about the microphone is we're going to hit the escape key again to escape out of this menu. And if you look down to your lower left here, you might see a microphone symbol in bright red with a slash going through it. And that means that your mic is muted, which means you may be talking to someone, but they won't be able to hear you. So check for that. If you hit the V key on your keyboard, V as in Victor, you can toggle that microphone on and off. Right now the mic is on, and right now the mic is off. So if you're going into a classroom setting, or you have noisy children in the background, you want to mute that, you can simply turn it like that with the slash going through it. And if you want to ask a question or interact, then you would make sure that that is turned off like that. Again, just hitting the V key will turn it on and off. Right now the mic is on, and right now it's off. And one final thing we're going to cover is portals. A portal is a big glowing lozenge-looking thing that is an entry or a doorway into a completely different world in VRChat. So by traveling through these, you can go to other interesting worlds. So I'm going to create a portal and we'll walk through it together. So as you can see here, I've created a portal to the world called the Island of Flora. It tells you my name, that I generated it. It will be here for 19 more seconds. So let's not dilly-dally, let's go straight into it. And the screen will go black. The next world will load, the Island of Flora. And the next thing, you'll be magically transported to the beautiful island of Flora. Thank you for joining us in this brief tutorial of VRChat in desktop or laptop. We hope you have many happy journeys through various worlds. This is brought to you by Orbis Unum. For more information about Orbis Unum LLC, check out this link.